Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Not the Front Row podcast. I'm Jen.
And I'm Matt, and today we're going to be talking about Longlegs that released in July of 2024. Longlegs was written and directed by Oz Perkins, son of Anthony Perkins, and had a budget of just under $10 million from the sources that I found. And the movie grossed over $126 million worldwide.
Wow.
Which is pretty on par for horror movies with low budgets, and they just completely destroy their budget by making a ton of money at the box office. I think horror is one of the easiest movies to make money back on.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know he was the son of Anthony Perkins.
I didn't know that
Anthony
either
Perkins.
until about
That's
20
amazing.
minutes ago when I looked it up. When it comes to the movie being made, this movie, the marketing budget actually was just as high as the production budget for this. So they put a lot of Neon, the company that distributed the movie, put a ton of work into promoting this movie.
It's funny, I never saw any promotions for it.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. But their marketing campaign was a huge success. I think it more so was in the LA area. They had a billboard in LA that they bought out, and they just put a phone number on it. And sort of like a little picture, I think, of Longlegs, but nothing to reveal what he looked like or anything. And if you called that phone number, it was Nicolas Cage singing Happy Birthday.
Oh, that's creepy.
In his voice from the movie. And that was it. There's nothing else in that phone call. It was just that.
Okay, that's
yeah,
bone chilling.
Yeah,
he's so creepy.
I wish I knew about that, because that would have been a cool... I think if you can still hear the recording.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if you can still call it.
Yeah, I know there's recordings online to hear him singing Happy Birthday. But... And then on top of that, they also released a lot of cryptic trailers on YouTube where they didn't really show you anything about the movie. They'd show you quick clips and stuff like that. But one of the big things they did in the marketing campaign was they never actually showed Longlegs' face in any of the marketing, because they wanted that to be a big draw to the movie to go see what he looked like. So much so that Micah, who plays Lee Harker in the movie, actually didn't know what he looked like until the scene where she came into the interrogation room. So even she didn't know what he looked like up until that point. So they did a lot of good work with the trailers, never really giving away too much. And then they also, one last thing they did that I saw was they created a fake blog post where they described murders as if they were almost something that really happened.
Wow.
And they described like what Longlegs did to them and showed pictures from the crime scenes. So pretty on par with stuff like the Blair Witch marketing campaign and Smile, where they used a lot of online advertising to really build up the movie.
Was the Blair Witch online? Did we have online back then?
Blair Witch was them making it seem like they were real people.
Yeah, I when I saw that, I thought they were real.
Yeah, I also thought those people actually died.
Yeah, me too.
Back then.
So when the movie started, it had a very 70s sort of vibe for me. I think I said that to you a couple times.
When the car scene, right? When you're driving in the car.
Like even in the beginning, like the opening credit, I think.
Oh, with the red.
Yeah, it was just very like 70s, like the font. I felt like the look of it. And then when it opens up and the car's driving down the road and the little girl sees it and she comes out, it reminded me of The Shining.
Yeah.
Like she even almost like looked like she was dressed like Danny Torrance.
I think he took inspiration from The Shining for this.
Well, I read that he took inspiration from Silence of the Lambs and Seven. And it's so funny because I remember at one part in the movie I went, oh my God, this is like reminds me so much of Seven. And I was like, holy crap, I got that part.
Yeah.
I didn't get Silence of the Lambs because I don't know Silence of the Lambs that well.
Hello, Clarice.
Yeah, I've only seen that like once or twice.
I don't think I've ever seen Seven, so.
Oh, you have to.
I don't think I've seen
Seven is amazing.
I didn't understand what the inspiration was from that just because I haven't seen it.
You have to see that. But The Shining, I don't know why, it really, because she's in the snow. I felt like she was dressed a lot like the little boy was dressed in that movie. And it just, I don't know. And then that creep shows up.
Did you notice the aspect ratio too on the screen was super, like 4/3? Like it was only...
Yes.
Yeah, all the flashbacks were in 4/3, I think is what that...
Oh, that theme ran through.
Is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could have said, I will give you $1 million to tell me who's playing Longlegs, and I would have never guessed.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in this movie because I didn't see a lot of advertising for this.
And apparently he did a few interviews. He didn't really market it himself that well,
Yeah,
or
they
not
never,
a lot.
like I said, they never even showed his face.
He was, I hate to say it, really good in it, even though he's creepy as hell.
He
Like,
was very Nicolas Cage
when
on this
he
movie.
showed up, I was just like, oh my God. I freaked out. Like, that guy was so creepy. I don't know why. It's like one of those, like, you get goosebumps.
Yeah, he's
like,
a creepy dude.
Yes.
He seems very realistic because
he gets so immersed in his roles. Yeah. And I feel like he's a kind of a quirky guy anyway. But he just, like, immerses himself in his roles so well that he just...
And there's nothing, like, supernatural about him. He's just a dude.
Yeah.
Which is creepier because he's just a normal guy that looks different.
Actually, when I was reading about it, so Nicolas Cage was saying, like, it's not really Longlegs that's doing it. It's the voices, I guess, of the devil that are telling him. And apparently it was very personal to him because his mom was schizophrenic and very depressed. And he said he felt like maybe that's what she was feeling. And he kind of, like, put that into it. And I just can't imagine, like, trying to play that role with that personal level of it. That's just...
Yeah, always thinking about what his mom was hearing.
Yes, that's crazy to me. It's, like, scary.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job playing that normal guy that has been through some shit.
Yeah, and you never get any history on him. Like, you don't know anything about...
You know nothing about his previous
situation.
Life.
Yeah, nothing. You just kind of get introduced to him as just this weird, creepy guy.
And since we're talking about the opening of the movie, the actual opening shot of the movie when you're in the car driving up to Lee's house, you're looking through the doll's eyes at that point. So you're in the passenger seat and you're looking through the doll. I guess the devil would be the doll at that point. So that's what that shot is. You're sitting in the passenger seat with him driving. So
when they first showed him, I think I don't remember if you don't see him in the car at all, right? You only see him when he shows himself.
Yeah, you just see the doll.
I thought for a second it was like an old woman at first, because you only see, like, you know, like certain parts of his face, and I thought it was an old woman, and then he starts to talk, and I was just like,
I love that opening shot where it's all white.
Yeah.
In the snow, and she's got the red coat on.
That's what reminded me of The Shining.
Yeah, it was really well done. And then Longlegs comes up and it says, "Oh, it seems I've put my long legs on today."
I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, and then he bends down and it instant cuts to the credits, or I guess the opening
the red
crawl of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, they do a good job of not showing you too much right away, but you do see his face. But it's really quick. So there's a couple of theories out there about Longlegs, because like you said, there's no backstory on him. They don't tell you anything about him. But you can kind of get little hints about his backstory. So some people believe that he was a music artist, which is why he sings in the movie. So he may have been an artist back in the day. And he
has that kind of like, he thinks he's like a kind of like a glam rocker type.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Glam rock is something that comes up a lot when people talk about him. And the theory is that he got plastic surgery to make himself, you know, in his eyes, more beautiful or prettier, which is something that people brought up because of the posters in his room. He has pictures of, like, beautiful women on the walls and
glam rockers.
Yeah, and glam rock. So two of those theories are he's a singer and he got plastic surgery, and that's why he looks like that, and that's why he sings.
Yeah, I think the director said he originally had him with a glam rock appearance, and then he decided he wanted him to look like he got all these botched surgeries to try to make himself better looking.
Yeah.
So he obviously had some underlying issues about himself and his appearance.
Oh,
and
for sure.
How he wanted to be more beautiful for the devil is what they wanted us to interpret, which is
so does that
scary.
I was thinking about this, is that did he do all that and then get into the work with the devil, or was that all before he got into the work with the devil?
It sounds like the way the director wanted it was he wanted us to realize he was trying to be pretty for the devil.
Okay.
So I think the devil kind of taking over him led him down this spiral.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I mean, I can't say that for sure, but that's just what I read about his appearance.
Sense. So that's a little bit of story on Longlegs, and then we see Lee Harker for the first time in the FBI, I guess, debrief room.
Yeah, I noticed in that room, and I don't remember when the other agent came in, but I noticed she was the only woman.
Other than the main chief, the the one that dies.
Yeah, but I don't think she was there in the beginning.
Oh yeah, she might not have been.
And I was like, and I remember, it's funny. So it's in 1994, and I remember thinking like, were there not women agents in 1994? Like, maybe there weren't. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
but
sure.
I was just surprised that she was the only woman, and she stood out so much in this room of all these men.
And that was probably intentional.
Yeah,
because
I'm
of
sure
how
it was.
weird she is. And,
yeah.
And I don't know where this takes place. I think it's in the South. Where this actually takes place.
Either.
So that might also do.
In my brain, for some reason, I went to like Chicago or something.
Yeah, maybe.
No idea why.
That could
like
also
Midwest.
be a reason. Yeah, that could also be a reason why there's not many women in the force.
Yeah.
In this particular movie, anyway. But
yeah.
So we see Lee, and then she gets partnered up and heads out to this house.
Yeah, they're gonna go knock on doors to see if they've seen this guy. But is the guy they're looking for? Because she doesn't know at that point that it's Longlegs they're looking for. So who is the guy?
No, this is a completely different crime. This is not. This is how they
unrelated.
Yeah. This is how they introduce you to the fact that she's psychic.
I was really.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
I had no idea because, well, first off, when they pull up to this neighborhood, when they're doing these knock on the doors, I'm like, why is there a visitor parking spot in a random neighborhood? And because it didn't look like a apartment, it was like houses, and I'm like, why is there a visitor parking spot? Okay, I did not realize it was a completely unrelated,
totally different guy.
I wondered why we never saw what happened.
Yeah, so that was just to introduce you to the fact that she has some abilities, and that's how she found that house. And
yeah, because she's like, that house.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you know?
Yeah. They do a little subtle thing where they make that noise when she's in the car, that ringing almost.
Yeah.
And that's how they were like, oh, she has this thing that's telling her where to go.
He knocks on the door, FBI, and then he just gets shot in the head.
I like how nice he is, too.
Yeah.
Hi, we're just here to look at the boom.
And he was gone. And I was like, that shocked me. I didn't expect that to come. But then the weirdest thing to me, she walks in the house, right? Trying to find him, which I don't know. I'm assuming she got him they don't show that.
Yeah.
But she walks in the house, and I was thinking it was the serial killer. Mm-hmm. So when I saw the plastic on the walls, I'm like, all right, he's murdering people in this house. Mm. And the plastic on the walls is like, easy cleanup because blood splattered. But then the rugs were completely like not covered, and I'm just like, what is with this weird house?
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a mid-renovation house and he was hiding
there. I
there.
thought that too, but it didn't look like the way the plastic was. Like, you don't put plastic on your wall. Right. It was weird.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a serial killer, so I was like, well, okay, I guess that's how he just like cleans up. I just assumed this was the guy they were searching for. But he was on the bed with his hands up, so I'm assuming they got him.
Yeah, he gets arrested and she gets brought in.
I did not connect at all that this was different.
I mean, it's pretty confusing because it's like, what was the point of that? But I think it's just...
because when they didn't show him getting arrested, I'm like, did he somehow get away?
It's a very big jump from her going from that house to the into like the test room.
Yeah, like the psychological evaluation, I'm assuming is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the FBI was like, okay, we need to see if she's psychic. Which they skip that step too. It's just her in the test.
You find that out in the car.
Yeah, because they tell her.
Yeah.
So they put her into the psych test because this is how they tried to see if people were psychic in the 90s, and they show her a bunch of pictures, and I think there's two pictures that stood out. One of them is when she said mother, which was, I can't remember exactly what the image was.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But the upside down triangle, she said father. So those two were retaining or pertain to the devil being the father figure for
and
her.
Okay.
And I don't remember what the mother shape was, but it's about her mother and her
father. Well, if it was
mother
and father, and the father was a symbol for the devil, it was probably maybe foreshadowing that her mother was the accomplice.
Maybe, yeah. It could have been foreshadowing. But that was something that I saw a video brought up that, father was the upside down triangle shape.
That to was me, cool. Saying that then makes me think that was a very subtle way to foreshadow that her mother was the accomplice.
Yeah, it could have been.
Okay. Interesting. I was not sure exactly what they were getting at with the test. I wasn't sure if, because she had seen her partner get shot in the head, like, were they trying to, like, I wasn't sure what that was, what was happening right there, because they didn't explain this after the fact.
Those first 30 minutes of the movie are a fucking whirlwind. Because you have no idea.
Was that 30 minutes into the movie?
I think it might have been less than that, honestly.
20 maybe, yeah.
Maybe
20 to 30.
Yeah. You go from a flashback to her current day, to her doing FBI work to her being in a test room.
Yeah.
All within those like first two. You have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So I can understand why you were confused about some of those parts.
Yeah.
And I only know more about it because I saw it for the second time. And I watched a bunch of videos on it.
And you had seen a bunch of stuff, yeah.
So, but I was definitely confused the first time I watched this as well. So then they tell you that she's psychic. She's half psychic.
Yeah.
Because she got half of the numbers correct from 1 to 100.
Which is wild. Yeah, he said you got 8. You beat it 8 times, and she said, but I also lost 8 times. And he said, better to be half psychic than not psychic at all. and that's Agent Carter.
Yeah, and then you see her new partner, Agent Carter, who is, I guess, seems like he's pretty high up in the FBI.
Yeah. I don't know if he's her partner as much as he's her boss.
Yeah, probably her boss is probably more like it. But I really like them together. Like, it's very short that they're together.
I do too.
But I do like them together as
I like that he trusted her. Everybody seemed to be questioning her. Like, are you sure she's ready for this? Like, I think 3 different people
and then
asked
he was just
that.
like, yeah, she's fine.
He's like, yeah, she's got it. Every time, like, he knew that she could do the work when everybody else was questioning her ability.
And he
because she was a little odd. She was like a little bit socially awkward.
Yeah.
But I think she just has that mind, that kind of mind that just, I guess she's always going. You know what I mean?
And I liked how he doesn't really, like, give her much. He's just like, hey, here's everything about this case. Good luck. And then puts her in that room.
And I think he knew, based on her, like, abilities that he's seeing, I think he knew that she could sit there and be very analytical and look through it from, like, a different perspective than they all could. I think you saw that because he had it on the board originally, right? And then put her in the room with all the files. Yeah.
Which is very weird because he's very skeptical of everything pertaining to, like, voodoo, magic, devil, all that stuff. But then he believes her psychic ability.
Yeah.
Which is very funny.
Well, I think because he saw it proven.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, being psychic is part of all that.
I know,
it's a supernatural thing, and he doesn't believe anything else but the fact that she's psychic.
Yeah, but I guess when you've proven it, because he saw her come up with things like, how did you even know?
Yeah, he saw her do the test.
And the house.
Yeah.
Because I thought for a minute that he thought she was involved.
Yeah, it seemed like, I thought when they put her in the room, they thought that she was like part of something.
I thought the other agent did too. I don't know that woman's name, the other woman.
Yeah, I forget.
I think she for a minute thought she might have been part of it too. And I guess in a weird roundabout way, she was a little bit.
Yeah. So he explains to her that in the last 30 years, there have been 10 families murdered, with the 11th that just happened when they brought her on.
Right.
And it's always been the dad that kills the whole family. Then the dad commits suicide, and it's always 6 days from from their daughter's birthday.
Either before or after.
Yeah, 6 days before or after their daughter's birthday.
And the 14th.
The 14th, yeah.
I wasn't sure. I don't know if they ever explained the significance of the number 14.
No, well, from what I understand, it was just to help create that triangle of numbers.
Okay. Yeah, because it was different months, but it was always
always the 14th.
In or around 6 days before or after the 14th of the month, but different months.
But it could have been part of Carrie Ann.
Yeah, maybe.
Birthday being on the 14th, or Lee Harker's birthday being on the 14th. I can't remember if any of those were that 14th day. But
at all of the murder scenes, the killer Longlegs leaves the letter, the coded letter, which reminded me a lot of like the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we find out it's murder suicide technically, but they always talk about how they were murdered. Like even the dad was murdered. Mm-hmm. So I found it. Because when you hear about serial killers, it's always like they have the same MO every time.
Right.
So when they started saying how it's like 2 crimes were committed with a gun, 1 with a hammer and 8 with the knives, I was like, okay, so it's not the same MO. And then you start questioning what the real reason is for these people getting killed. Because we don't know a lot yet. Yeah. At this point, we just know.
We know as
for
much as
some reason these dads are going batshit and like killing their families and killing themselves. But yeah, I was trying to connect the dots. I hadn't gotten there yet.
You were connecting way too early.
I was trying to connect really early. Yeah.
You had no info, and you were.
I was thinking a lot.
You're trying to solve the case, and you have like a couple pieces of info. That's it. So
I did connect correctly some things right from the beginning.
Yeah. So so when Lee is looking through the case files and she does that spread of all the cases, this is the first scene where you get the devil in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And this appears 10 times throughout the movie. The horn shape will be popping up in and out of the backgrounds. So this is 1 of 10.
And I called it 5.
And you got 5 out of 10. So the first time I watched this movie, I got maybe 3.
The weird thing was the second one I didn't get because I saw the obvious one in the front and not the one in the back.
Yeah,
so I was a little mad at myself about that.
Yeah, that was Longlegs, apparently. That's him in the forest.
Is the shadowy figure just saying that the devil is present around her?
Some people have said that it's like him influencing something at that like time, or just like being present, and because like he's influencing Harker looking through the files or stuff like that. So
it did say it at one point in the movie they say it tells her what she should and shouldn't see.
That's way
okay.
Yeah, we can talk about.
But now that we see that, or now that we heard that, maybe that's right, like influencing what she's.
It's either he's influencing or he's just always around. They're showing that he's always around doing something, controlling something.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So you'll see that if you look hard enough, apparently there are 10 that people have found in total. Okay. So far.
The one guy said there might have been an 11th.
Yeah, that I saw what he was talking about. It was, I don't think it was 11.
Okay.
But,
I thought there was one that wasn't there too, so.
Yeah.
What do I know?
I'm sure people will find ones that aren't actually the devil.
I swore it was one, but
yeah.
I'd have to watch it again.
They do some really cool.
It goes fast.
They do some really cool parts though where he's in the background.
Yeah.
Like in the couple cool door frames and stuff. But okay, so Harker falls asleep reading through all the notes, and then she ends up going to the bar, or going to some kind of
like bar restaurant, yeah,
with Agent Carter. And Carter gets drunk and says, "Okay, she's gonna drive me home." So they get back to the house, and Agent Carter's like,
"Oh, the
come in and meet my family." Oh yeah, he's like, "Oh,
the lights are on, I'm in trouble."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm busted," and then he sprays his mouth with
like
breath mint or whatever. Yeah.
Breath freshener.
I thought that was funny. And then he's like, "Come in and meet my family." And then
she's like, "Do I have to?"
Like, "Do I have to, sir?" And he's like, "Yes." So she's super awkward.
I feel like she was so awkward in the beginning, and not as much as the movie goes on.
At this point,
she was very reserved, just like it almost like she didn't know how to behave amongst people.
Which makes sense because of what her past was like. So
yeah.
But yeah, so you meet the family. So you get introduced to the mom and the daughter.
Yeah.
And then you
realize...
Ruby's
the daughter, right?
Yeah. And then they talk about how her birthday's coming up.
Yes.
And I don't know if you picked up on this. I guess it's more later on in the movie. But did you have a feeling anything was going to happen to them when they introduced them?
100%.
Really? I did.
Do you remember when I said, "Oh, I feel something ominous"?
Yeah.
I knew that they were going to, because you find out that her birthday's on the 14th.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not going to end well. Like, I knew right away something, maybe not there. I think
they mentioned her birthday a couple times.
I think it was there though. I was like, no, this isn't going to end well.
I didn't think anything was going to happen to them right away when I saw them. I was just like, oh, here's another.
I went, oh, this is going to be ominous. Like, I just knew. I felt it coming. I was just like, oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, and then
because I loved him. I really liked him a lot.
Yeah, he's really good as an FBI agent. And he was like pretty nice to Harker too. One of the few people that seemed like it was nice to Harker. But then they have that awkward scene on the bed where she's sitting so awkwardly with the little girl.
Yeah. Just
like looking around the room. And I heard somebody bring up that the trophy missing the head was bringing up a foreshadowing of what could happen to the family later on.
Well, also if you think about it, all the dolls had to have their heads blown off.
Yeah. There's a lot of like headless.
Yeah.
That you could refer that back to.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harker's so awkward.
There was a lot of head stuff because in the one scene with the father, he always hits the priest in the head. The other one,
he also cut off the cow's head. In the farm outside.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of missing head stuff. So, but yeah,
which maybe that points to something like because it's psychological.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the cow thing was really random. It felt like there was no part of.
I think though it shows because remember she was saying my dad was so nice.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean,
and he was out there chopping
UC
cows'
is like
heads
a little
off.
nuts.
Yeah,
but it's not his fault.
Right.
So.
But yeah, so Harker's super awkward on the bed, and you
But the little girl loved her.
Yeah.
She said, "Can you come to my party?"
And then you realize, oh no, her birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
So 2 people's birthdays are coming up. You've got Lee Harker's and Mrs. Ruby, or Miss Ruby's birthday coming up. So, and then she goes home.
Yes.
Harker goes home for the night. And you get the first conversation with her mom, and you learn that her mom is
you kind of know her mom's a little...
weird.
Yeah, a little weird. And she keeps talking about how she's saying her prayers.
Mm-hmm. Like you pointed out, Lee has a chain on her door.
Yes.
That is locked when they show the door the first time.
When she comes in originally, yes.
Yeah.
Or when they showed the door the first time.
Which I never noticed that the chain was on. I thought the chain was off the whole time.
I just remember being like, oh, finally somebody in a scary movie locks their door.
Yeah.
And I was like really pumped about that.
And then
they never do.
Yeah, and then you get the whispering and the knocking while she's on the phone with her mom.
Yeah, and she hangs up with her mom. Like, I'll call you back.
And then you pointed out that the chain's off the door now.
Yeah, I'm like, how's she locking it? It was already locked.
Yeah.
That drove me crazy.
She goes to lock it. So somehow, I mean, the devil unlocked her door.
Or it was just an continuity thing with the movie.
No way. They definitely put that on purpose, which I didn't catch the first time I watched it. You were the one that caught it.
Yeah, you rewound it to see it.
So Lee goes to the window and sees what...
Well, she heard the knocking, but then she said hello and there was nobody there.
Yeah.
Right?
Then, yeah.
Okay.
And then she goes to her window and she sees what people have said is Longlegs in the forest with another sighting of the devil behind him.
I did not catch that behind him at all.
Yeah, I just should point. Yeah, we had to rewind and show that one to you. That one I saw the first time, I think.
I hate how in all of these movies, they're always so exposed with all these windows. You're in the middle of the woods.
I know.
And you have no blinds. Like, you're just... no, that's creepy.
They're always, like, floor-to-ceiling windows in these houses.
It's insane to me. So she goes outside to, like, investigate.
To go see what it is.
But behind her, in her house, you see somebody, like, walking.
Which... I think is Longlegs.
It looked like a person.
Yeah, it looked like the hair of Longlegs.
But then to me, I thought it went into like the shadow. Mm-hmm. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, it could have. I just don't know. I didn't catch it. So
yeah, that's what I saw. I wrote it down.
You can see the hair of Longlegs in the house, and then he might have turned into a shadow.
Yeah, I felt like he just turned into a shadow. Because then, like, if he's human, which he is. Yeah. Right? How does he get in and out of this house?
I don't know if this is actually Longlegs here at this point.
Okay.
It could have been the devil. Okay. Like his figure. I don't know, because I don't think Longlegs could have done what he did in this scene.
But...
because he's a person.
But when she goes back inside, there's the letter from him.
Mm-hmm, there's a letter, yeah. Yeah, so she decodes the letter. This is where you get that crazy line where it's like, I'll cut off her hanging milk tits and bleed your mom dry.
Yeah, and that's where I thought, is he threatening her that he's going to kill her mother?
Mm-hmm. Except you laid it out clearly for me that it was a threat that don't tell them.
Yeah, and she never does bring that letter up.
Yeah, okay. This whole time, I thought the letter was telling Lee to tell them how she figured out how to code.
Is that why you question why she never told him?
Yes, because I'm like, why doesn't she tell them? Like, the letter tells her to tell them that she got this letter.
We interpreted it very different. And it's the complete
opposite. It's threatening that it's going to kill her mom if she tells them where she figured out how to code this. Because I was so confused on why she never told them about this letter that ended up in her house. Yeah. That makes way more sense that it was a threat and not telling her what to do. Yeah. It was telling her what not to do. But me reading it, I thought it was telling her what to do.
Yeah. So. But then she's able to take that, because she had the code from the birthday card, and go to the library. And that's when she was able to kind of sift through all these different letters that he wrote and come up with the calendar and figuring out the triangle. Yeah. The upside down triangle.
So next, Lee does more research on the murders and discovers another connection between all the letters. Yeah. And the connection is the fun times that we had at the Camera family farm. Yeah. That's the same message that's throughout all the letters that have been at the crime scenes.
Yeah, it was in all of them that stood out to her.
And then she finds out
the fine time we had at the Camera family farm where X's marked the spot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she also finds out that the only survivor of any of these murders was the little girl.
Carrie Ann
Camera.
Yeah. So her birthday was also the 14th. Then she starts to realize that the birthdays or the killings are 6 days before or after.
And this is where she shows that she also coded all the dates of the murders to form into an upside down triangle, which is 666, sign of the devil.
Yeah.
And there's one missing.
The 13th.
There's like a 13 missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Carter and Lee decide to head out to the Camera family farm because, like we said, it mentions it in all the letters.
Yeah.
And this is where they find the doll. So after they find the doll, they bring it to a doctor.
A medical examiner?
Yeah, like a guy that just...
I'm watching this scene. I'm like, who does an autopsy on a doll? It was so weird to me.
Yeah, I guess it was like just their FBI like forensic team, maybe.
Yeah, it was just weird.
That was a doctor, but I guess he autopsied the doll. And this guy knows a lot about dolls because he says it's, really well made. It's got like all the materials.
He was
like
fascinated by that doll in like a weird, creepy way.
Yeah, and he was like, this doll's amazing. He's like, someone really took the time to...
That's how you find out it's human hair, too.
This. Yeah, and he says it's human hair. And they talk about a ball that was inside the doll's head. And it's almost like a metallic silver ball.
Yeah, like a metal sphere.
And he puts like a EKG thing up to it. I don't know what device he put up to it.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. But he says it's empty.
He says it makes a noise.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, almost like an ultrasound, I guess.
Yeah.
And he puts it up and it affects Lee. Lee starts seeing images of snakes and images of red.
Yeah.
And the doctor says he swears it was whispering his ex-wife's name to him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you connected it later on, but pieces of Longlegs are in every ball that he puts inside of a doll. So that's how it's like the devil and him are put into the ball. And
I thought it was just like the devil of some sort.
It's like he says, there's a piece of me in every doll. So he puts him some kind of, however he does it, he puts himself and I guess the devil inside that ball. Okay. And it goes into a doll, and that's how they possess the families. So
do the dolls have teeth?
I don't think so. I think they just have eyes and hair.
Okay.
From what I remember. So after they find the doll, you get the first scene with Longlegs going to the grocery store. I guess like a corner.
Almost like a general store.
Yeah, I guess a general store. And this is the first, you see his face for the first time, and he's super weird. He's just a weird guy.
So weird.
Doesn't know how to talk to the girl at the counter like a normal person. And he's been there before because the girl says, "Dad, the creepy guy's back again."
Well, when I first saw the girl, I'm like, why haven't we learned not to let 13-year-old girls or whatever run a store by themselves? Like, why is nobody with her? And then we realize her dad's there.
My first thought was, oh no, he's alone with a little girl. And that's when her birthday is.
Yes, I know.
And I thought he was going to kidnap her.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could just be him looking for his next family to murder.
Yeah, because I guess if she would have told him and her birth, because I thought she was going to say like the 14th.
Can you imagine
like,
if she said it and he's like, oh, checking her off the list.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, she's the next family.
She was kind of badass though because she
didn't
like,
care.
yeah, she's like, I don't, because he did the peekaboo thing and she's like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Like he did not phase her. She was like tough. She stood up to him, which was cool.
And then he's driving home and he's all mad. He's like, Mommy! Daddy!
What do you say? Like,
unmake me!
Yeah, unmake me. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's screaming in his car.
It's so weird. Like, I was like, this guy is insane.
Mm-hmm. And he's driving back to Lee's house because nobody knows. She doesn't know at this point, but Longlegs lives in her house.
I connect that way late, by the way.
Yeah, I never connected until the very end.
Yeah, when she wakes up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you know that he's going back to her house, which is crazy that he was living there the whole time. After Longlegs goes to the grocery store, they go to visit Carrie Ann, who was the only survivor.
But then we find out he visited Carrie Ann.
Yeah, so Longlegs came to visit her the day before and woke her up out of her comatose state.
Yeah, she woke up when they found the doll, apparently.
Yeah.
So he comes to visit her, but signs in as Lee Harker.
As Lee Harker, yeah.
And I guess that could be a male or female name because they don't take IDs, so nobody questioned it. And that's when I was like, okay, if he visits her, does he then he kind of possesses them in a way. Because she kept saying, no matter what he tells me to do, I would do it.
Right.
If he told me to kill you right now, I would do it. If he told me to jump out a window, I would do it.
Yeah, he still definitely has influence over
Yeah,
her.
like he almost like possesses their body, like their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Like takes over their thoughts, obviously, because he's convincing parents to kill their kids and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and you could just see her it was almost like she was enamored with him.
Oh yeah, she was like, I'll do anything he tells me.
Yeah, it was
And
really
she was like,
weird.
oh, I'll never forget him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, that's why I thought like, okay, she's like possessed or something.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense.
Yeah. And this is where Carrie Ann, played by Kiernan Shipka, Sabrina, said, you dirty, flirty old angel bitch. With her crazy accent and the way she talks.
She really didn't like Lee Harker.
No. And that's probably because,
yeah,
she's starting to crack the case.
Yeah.
But then Carrie Ann mentions the man downstairs for the first time. Or the man down the stairs.
She asked who it was, right? Or something?
Yeah, I think Lee asked her who is the man downstairs or
something. And I keep thinking, like, how do you not connect that it's the devil? The man downstairs. But then...
Yeah, you think it's the devil.
I'm thinking it's the devil.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's the devil when they say it.
Yeah.
Which, in the very beginning of the movie, Longlegs is referring to the devil.
Right.
When he meets Lee for the first time, he says the man downstairs. Yeah. And he is talking about the devil at that point, but... later on it becomes him.
Yeah.
He pretty much becomes the devil that everybody's talking about. So while talking to Carrie Ann brings up the fact that both of them don't remember having a doll of themselves.
Well, because Lee asks her, do you remember having a doll?
Right.
And Carrie Ann's like, no, do you? But
you don't remember
yours.
Either.
And I'm like...
Yeah. So this is where they kind of hint at the fact that the devil kind of controls their memory too.
Yeah.
And this freaks Lee out because then the next scene is Lee in the bathroom like, holy shit, what's going on? And she's pretty much having like a panic attack in the bathroom about the stuff that Carrie just told her. And Carrie also threatened to kill her.
Yeah.
So
if he told me to kill you, I would do it.
I'd do it and I'd be so pleased. So next, Agent Carter questions Lee about knowing Longlegs.
Yeah.
Because Longlegs put her name down. So there's some kind of connection there, and now Carter's a little afraid that maybe she's in on it too with Longlegs.
Yeah.
Because he's freaking out because now they know each other.
Yeah, I think they both started to think, him and Browning, right, is her name?
Yeah.
Started to think something's not right here. And I think Browning even says, you having this connection puts the FBI in a weird spot.
Yeah, later on she says that.
Yeah, so it's like they start to kind of think, is she involved? Is she an accomplice? Mm-hmm. But
and this is where he says this case has been cold for 20 years and all of a sudden you show up
and it's open completely up. Yeah.
Flowing like hot lava. So there's one thing that Agent Carter brings up when they're having their meeting where he says your mom called in on a trespasser. A tall, pale man. And it's weird because in the flashback scene where you see the mom getting the car driving up and the mom noticing, she goes to call the police, but she picks up the phone and it's just like static.
Oh, right. Almost like the line was cut almost.
Yeah, almost like what the devil's been doing to the phone.
Yeah.
A couple of times in the movie. And then she goes to get the shotgun.
Right.
And...
Sorry, when I saw him, I would have used the damn shotgun. Yeah. Because that dude was crazy.
Yeah. And it's weird that he said that she made a call into the police because they don't show her making the call. They just show the phone not working. So I don't know if that's continuity error or if she made the call after that at some point. But then you also get the scene where Nicolas Cage sings to the mom and the little girl because she's like, what are you doing here?
He goes in like glam rock mode.
Yeah, he goes into glam rock mode. And he says, if you make me leave, I'll have to come back. Not once, not twice, but as many times as I like.
That's when the shotgun would have come out.
Just shoot him right there.
You can bye. You're done. You will not come back here ever.
He goes into that crazy singing part. And it's just very Nicolas Cage for him. It's on brand.
Wild.
And it really, I think it really adds a lot to his character as a creepy
that was
man.
like like chilling, that part. Because it's just like, it was just, I don't know. It just was really like unsettling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, imagine an old guy coming up to you singing like that in front of your mom when you're like a 9-year-old girl.
No.
Yeah.
That's so creepy. It was very unsettling.
So Lee goes to visit her mom, and this is the first time we see the mom in the movie, and her mom's a hoarder.
Yeah.
And also kind of a weirdo. It looks like she hasn't thrown away anything in years. Mm-hmm. And she's just sitting in this room.
Yeah, even like behind her on the bed, it's just like piled with
piles
stuff.
of crap.
Yeah.
And then Lee brings up her 9th birthday, and you can tell the mom's very like...
But before that, though, her mom's always bringing up prayer, right? And she says, I want you to tell me truthfully, have you been saying your prayers? And Lee says, Mom, I never have because prayer scares me. Mm-hmm. And then her mom says, well, prayer hasn't done anything for anybody anyway. Or like she basically turns on prayer. And I'm thinking where did this change come from? From her being, I guess, obviously religious, like praying all the time, to now prayer doesn't do anything.
Yeah, probably because she kills
or it's like
family.
Bad for you.
Probably she's
but we didn't know this at the time.
Yeah.
So I was just like, why did this happen? What did this change happen? And then you start to think, okay, something's off here.
Yeah, you can tell when she asks about her 9th birthday, her mom knows a lot more than what she's letting on. Because she said she gives that weird face, and then she goes, "No, do you remember anything?"
Yeah, but then she says, "I don't remember anything, but I never got rid of anything." Mm-hmm. And that's when Lee's like, I need to go look in my room. She's like, I've kept everything. Your room's exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Lee goes in her room and finds the picture of Longlegs that she took that day.
Yeah.
Which, from what it seems like, her memory is of that day and then nothing else.
And nothing else, yeah.
Yeah.
But her mom mentions you were allowed to grow up. Mm-hmm. And that struck me at that point. And then it's like...
And you realize later it's because she killed all those kids. Lee Carter brings that picture to... Or I'm sorry, Lee Carter. Lee Harker brings that picture to Carter, and they start a manhunt, and they end up finding Longlegs.
On like the side of the road,
who's trying to skip down.
But it's almost like he knew they were coming.
Yeah, I don't think he expected to get away.
Yeah.
I think he was just like going to get away if he could, but... You know.
Yeah, he surrendered right away once he heard the cop. Like the minute he heard a siren, he was like, they're coming for me. Like, I'm done. I'm done for.
And they have that really cool transition from the doll head to his head sitting on the side of the road.
Oh, it's so creepy.
And I love the shot of him standing at the bus stop, and in the background, it's like nothing but field and sky.
Yeah. That's where I thought of Seven.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is like, because like I think they had like the tension poles maybe. And then I look and I'm like, this is very Seven. Mm-hmm. And then when I was looking at facts and I realized he had like inspiration from Seven, I was so excited I connected that.
Yeah, that shot's really cool. And then they bring him in. And good old Longlegs.
Oh God.
Spills some of the beans anyway. Tells him his name, and
they were showing the video, the recording to the FBI team.
Room, yeah.
And Nicolas Cage really did go on for 25 minutes.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he really. They were all just like watching him go on for 25 minutes. He just went. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like
just singing Happy Birthday for 25 in that voice.
And like talking in that weird voice. And he called Oz at 3:00 in the morning and said, here's what I think the voice will sound like, and just started talking in that voice. And that's what Oz was like. It's very collaborative the way they did it. Mm-hmm. But man, his
voice is crazy.
Bananas.
Yeah, there's some points where he's talking and you're like, oh, that's Nicolas Cage. But then there's other times you're like, oh, that's crazy.
Like Nicolas one Cage. Or two times I was like, oh, I hear it.
Yeah, you can
because he looks nothing like him. Like you would never know visually that it's him. But every now and then, like you'll hear that little Nicolas Cage voice and you're like, oh yeah, it is him. Because it's very easy to forget because he plays the character very well. Yeah. But I think when they're in Lee's mom's house, do you remember she's at the sink and she sees the roach come out of the basement? That's when I was like, something's going on in that basement. I didn't know what it was yet. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, something's not right.
And the door's locked.
Yes. And she went to get it and her mom called her because she was going to make her food or something like that.
So when they're watching the interrogation tape, if you didn't notice it, he's talking about the birthday party. And he says, you'll be there. And you'll be there. And you'll be there. And he looks at Lee, Agent Carter, and the last agent, Browning.
Yeah.
He looks at all three of them through the interrogation tape, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It looks exactly where they're all standing.
Yeah, even though he didn't know where they were.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was cool. I did catch that.
Yeah, and then he kicks everybody out except Browning and Lee. And another thing, almost foreshadowing, I guess, is they form a triangle right in front of Longlegs on the videotape where it's paused at that
I kept
crazy
thinking,
face.
can you please turn, why did you pause it and not turn the TV off?
Why would you leave it there while you're talking about him? And then Lee goes in to see Longlegs for the first time.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't remember anything about, other than when she saw the picture, she doesn't remember what he looks like or anything. And
she's convinced that he has an accomplice.
Oh, yeah. She's you definitely aren't doing this
trying to find out, because they know the 13th is coming up. I think the next day or something very close. And she's like, we need to figure out who his accomplice is. He's working with somebody. Mm-hmm. I need to question him because another murder is going to happen. Yeah,
she's like, maybe I can figure out who the accomplice is and who the next person to be killed is.
Right.
And then they use this scene a lot in the marketing because Micah wasn't allowed to see Longlegs until this interrogation scene. So when they brought Lee in for the first time on set, the microphone, her heart rate was so loud that the microphones picked up her heartbeat. And they used that clip in the marketing.
Yeah, they said it was like double.
Yeah, her heart rate was like twice as long or twice as high as her normal resting heart rate. So they used that a lot in the marketing, and that also gave a lot of people the want to go see the movie because they wanted to see what Longlegs looked like.
Yeah,
because
And the one thing I noticed, and I think I noticed it kind of early on in the movie, is all of her movements specifically are very exaggerated. Her breathing is like her footsteps are loud. Her breathing is like loud. Like everything from her, even her movements in her house when they show her in her house, everything is very exaggerated from her. I'm like, why is she so noisy? Like I remember thinking that you hear every kind of move that she makes and every breath that she takes, every footstep she takes is very exaggerated compared to the other characters in the movie.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it came on very early that I think I actually have noted it in the very beginning, but it carries throughout that I feel like you hear her movements and her expressions, I guess, and stuff much more than other people's.
And you can see it in this scene a lot because she looks terrified when she's talking to Longlegs.
Yeah.
Which I guess on set she actually was because that was the first time seeing him like that.
Yeah, they purposely kept Nicolas Cage away from her.
And he does.
Can you imagine?
No, and he does such a good job being a weirdo talking to this scene. Oh, the almost birthday girl.
I know, he's so creepy.
And I mean, he doesn't really give her anything. When she's asking him questions.
He doesn't.
I mean, the most he gives her is like, ask your mom. Like that was one of the last things he said was ask your mommy. Yeah. Other than that, he really doesn't give her much other than talking about the man downstairs and stuff like that. And then he ends up killing himself after he says Hail Satan.
Yeah, he just smashes his damn face into the table eventually.
Smashes his nose off.
But did you notice when the final look at him, when his nose, it almost looked skeletal, like demon-like?
Yeah, because he lost his nose. Yeah.
But after that, I couldn't figure out why why Carter was so angry with her.
I guess because he blamed her for him dying, and
which made no sense.
That was their only lead.
Right, but it didn't make sense.
And because he didn't think there was an accomplice, so like now the person that murdered all these people is dead thanks to you, kind of thing.
I don't know. I didn't see her doing anything that led to him.
Yeah.
So it was a very odd scene to me that he was so angry with her about it.
But, yeah, I guess he was just mad because there's really no case now. That's
it's over. They didn't have anybody to question or get more answers.
So there is one thing to mention about the interrogation scene, that when she decided to go into law enforcement when she was 20, that they had a good laugh about it. And then Longlegs says, well, I laughed about it, but she didn't. Yeah. And I realized later that he's talking about her mom. Right. Her mom wasn't happy about her going into law enforcement because she would be, she's afraid she's going to get caught. And that's what that referred to. And then he said the seventh she had a choice, like all the others. Right. So from what it sounds like, he killed 6 other women before this. Mm-hmm. And then she was the one that fought back. Yeah, and tried to save her kid.
Yeah, he said you accept it's like crimson or clover, and then he says you accept it and destroy it, which then you destroy yourself, or you accept it and you keep it and you bow down. So she kept it and bowed down essentially to Satan.
Yeah, so it sounds like she was the only one that saved her kid.
Yeah.
But in turn had to go to work for the devil.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what's better. I mean, I guess she wanted to give Lee a good life and protect her, but at the same time, like, you're killing you're killing tons of other kids and families. So after Longlegs kills himself, the only thing they have left that might have some connection to all these murders is Lee's mom. Mm-hmm. And so Agent Browning takes Lee back to her mom's house. And this is where I think we get this is probably I would say probably my favorite shot of the movie is when Lee goes into the house to look for her mom and ends up her mom's behind the agent's car.
Dude, I didn't know who that was at first. Like, I just saw like a girl or a woman like walking up, and I'm like, what? I actually jumped at that part because I didn't expect it.
The first, so since this is the second time I'm watching, I looked in that spot. But if you're not, for the first time you're watching, she blends into the background perfectly.
She does.
But the second time watching, I looked right at that spot and you could see her sitting behind the car. But it's crazy how well she blended in that they shot that scene like that. But
like her clothes almost like the color of the sky behind her. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it looks like she's like floating along the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, is this a goat? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I was so confused for a second.
Yeah. She's got that devil walk. She's like not touching the ground.
I was like floating.
Yeah. And R.I.P. Browning, who had like 3 scenes in the whole movie.
I know, poor Browning.
Was just trying to help.
She was just trying to help.
And she
drove Lee because Lee was traumatized, and then she gets shot in the head.
Right before she dies, though, she does notice like Longlegs' car in the driveway, partially uncovered.
Is that what that was?
It's Longlegs' car.
I noticed the car was like kind of partially uncovered, but I didn't know whose car that was. Mm-hmm. Okay. And
so I guess it was, her mom covered it to try, or Longlegs covered it to try and keep Lee's memory from realizing that he lived right under her the whole time.
I connected that not yet. I still hadn't connected it yet. The first time I watched it, I didn't connect it yet. Because then what I was confused about too is why did her mom, so she shoots her in the driver's seat and then goes around the car and shoots her again from the other side.
Yeah, I guess just to make sure.
It was like, let me just make sure she's dead from the shotgun wound to her head. Like, it was weird. But then so Lee hears the shot, obviously, and goes running outside and realizes her mom. And she's like, holy, like, she didn't know what was going on. I think she thought her mom was trying to protect her still at this point for a second. Yeah. And then she sees the doll.
Because she said, Mom, it's okay. Yeah. He's dead.
Yes. Or he's captured. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. He's and then her mom goes, he's free now. Mm-hmm. And then I think she said something like, you're free now too. And you're free now too. Yeah. And she shoots Lee's doll. Yes. Because this is where this is where the mom shows you that Lee had a doll the whole time. Yes. And she shoots a doll, and the doll has smoke come out of it, along with Lee, who also has smoke come out of her. So at this point, I still thought, because I still wasn't connecting the dots for some reason, don't know why, I thought the doll was still possessing people. Like the doll was possessing Lee's mom. Which I get in a sense, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure if Lee's mom was possessed or not. I don't know if she was just doing the job. Yeah. It didn't seem like she was. But at that point, I thought she was still, until like the next second or whatever. And some people think that when she shot the doll, it was her trying to save her daughter from the possession or whatever, because there's smoke comes out of her and smoke comes out of the doll. And the doll is what keeps the daughter possessed, pretty much. Well, the weird thing was, I thought, and I don't know why, when I saw the smoke come out of Lee's head, I was like, has she been dead this whole time? Like, I was like, what? That was originally a thought. I'm like, she's dead this whole time? Like, is that what we're going to find out? Yeah. Like, she's not real? I was like, is this like a Sixth Sense That would be so annoying. But that's what I thought for some reason. Like, immediately I was like, wait. But then she passes out. Yeah. And is ready to get the whole backstory with the mom. Yes. And you find out the mom's the accomplice the whole time. And she's trusting because she was a nurse, so she knew a bunch of people in the town. But the way he got to her was, it was that same day when he came to the house. Oh, yeah, he threatened her. And he brought her in the house and, like, had her tied up, remember? Yeah. And that's when she was like, just spare my child or whatever. And then she became.
Yeah, because I guess he would have killed both of them.
Yeah.
Or she had a choice to help him.
Yeah.
And I guess she was one of the 7 to choose to help.
Yeah, and she was going to these people's houses, posing as a nurse, or like maybe even like almost like nun-like in her garb.
Yeah, I think
and said it was a gift from the church.
I think she became a nun at that point because she said it's a gift from the church.
Yeah, and who's not going to trust a nun back then? Like,
who's not going to trust a nun who was a nurse in your town?
Yeah,
with a gift from the church.
Yep,
and especially in the 70s.
And they mentioned previously in the movie that they had to be somebody that they. I think Lee says it to Carter, like it has to be somebody they trusted.
Yeah, and the mom mentions it. Like early in the movie, her first phone call, that she was a nurse. So they kind of hint that she was a trustworthy person in the town. Yeah. Because she says, "Oh, I'm a nurse. I've seen a lot of dirty things."
Yeah, because she wanted Lee to tell her what was going on in the case.
Yeah, so they hint early that she. Now, if you watch it back, you notice that she was one of the trustworthy people in the very beginning. Yeah. So, but yeah, you get the whole backstory, and you realize that the mom's the one letting the doll in, and the doll is the one that's. All the dolls have been made by Longlegs, and he has been putting a piece of him in all the dolls and the devil. Yeah, because she's kind of like, it's like a scene where she's laying in bed with her daughter, kind of like telling her a bedtime story almost. And it's like, this is the creepiest bedtime story ever. And then, so they tell you that Lee's pretty much been brainwashed since she was 9. Yeah. To not know that Longlegs is down in the basement. And he tells her what she can and can't see. Right. Yeah. I think we talked about that before, but like she wasn't seeing what she thought she was seeing a lot of times. But then she wakes up. Yeah, she wakes up in the doll factory. But the funny thing was, at first I'm like, how did they get her there? Thinking he was still in a different house. And then I literally wrote down, wait, was he working out of that house the whole time? Like I didn't connect that till the very end. Yeah. There when she wakes up there, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's what's in the basement. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. It's crazy to think back of all the things he said, like, oh, we had a laugh when you decided to join law enforcement. Yes. Like him just hanging out in the house with them. He's been there the whole time. Yeah. The entire, at least 20 years of her life. He's just hanging out down there. I can't believe it took me that long to connect it. Because I knew from the very beginning that they had that personal connection. And I'm like, but I didn't connect that he had been there all along. I didn't get it till the reveal. Yeah. I didn't know the mom was in on it. I didn't know he lived downstairs. No, me either. Any of that. I knew the mom had something wrong, but I didn't think she was the one doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you see that they do this. I mean, I really liked it. I know you didn't like it, but they do the imagery where they show the devil through the cloth in the doll. Oh, yeah. That face. I thought the face was pretty cool. The eyes, whatever, yeah. I thought those were really cool. I like seeing that stuff, but I like seeing the imagery of like the monster that's like possessing people. But yeah, then Lee wakes up and goes upstairs. He realizes it's the mom's house the whole time. Yeah. And she gets a phone call. And this is funny because people were questioning, like, did the devil call her and tell her the birthday party? You're late for the birthday party? I was wondering, like, where did that come from? Yeah, because it's a very, like, low demonic voice. So you're like, okay, it's probably not Carter calling her. So, like, does the devil just know how to use the phone and call people in 94? That was a weird one. Just to tell her she's late for the birthday party. And then Then Harker is like freaking out and tries to get to the house before her mom does. Yeah. And at this point, I'm like, I knew it all along. This family was doomed. I was so upset. I'm like, because I wanted to be wrong because I really liked Carter a lot. Yeah. And there's a cool shot here where Lee's driving the car of Longlegs. Yes. Where she's screaming. Just like he did. And it mirrors the image earlier when he's driving home from the from the corner store, screaming, "Mommy! Daddy!" So that scene was pretty cool. Because now she's the one driving. Because that car, somebody pointed out that car hasn't been to a house since 1974. Oh, okay. Like, because that was the last house that Longlegs went to. Okay. And now she's taking Longlegs' car to a new house. It's wild. So there's something about the end that we'll talk about, but Lee got to the house and I thought at first that Agent Carter was still normal and that he didn't know what was going on until like 2 seconds into her talking to him. Yeah, the thing that bothered me though was you go into the house, first of all, I was questioning why are they not she looked completely disheveled. Right.
And it's like, oh, nice to see you. And you're like, you're not going to question why she looks like
for
that.
For 1 second, I was like, okay, Carter's not possessed yet.
I didn't think so either for a second.
Yeah, and then he says, "Oh, come on in," and she has a gun in her hand, and he doesn't mention anything about it. So that's when I knew. I'm like, oh, they got him.
But the thing is, she knows what's doing it at this point.
Yeah, she knows it's the doll.
Why did she not just take the doll out?
Well, some people say that this devil still influencing her, which ties into the very end of the movie too.
Okay.
So, yeah, she does that whole. She kind of has like a little standoff, and then, obviously people are upset that she just let the wife die.
Yes.
Like, she just let Carter go kill the wife.
Well, the funny thing was, what did the mom say? I'll see you.
The wife's already dead.
No, she said, yeah, but then.
Oh, about the kitchen. Yeah.
Yes. Like, well, I'll be back, but she'll still be in the kitchen. And I was like, oh my god.
He's like, all right, I'll go to the kitchen. And she said, I'll be right back. And he said, no, I'll be back. You'll still be in the kitchen. Such a crazy line.
I know. I wanted him to end so happy too.
I know. And this is another thing where they think the devil's influencing her to not go after Carter. Not to go after Carter right here.
But she does end up.
She does, yeah. She does end up killing him.
So, like, why'd you hesitate?
I know, yeah.
Like,
I'm not glad she hesitated either, but. So, yeah, Carter stabs his wife who knows how many times.
Oh, it sounds like
at least 20 times in the kitchen. And then Lee has to shoot him.
But the mom wasn't possessed because she was acting real weird.
I think they possessed all of them.
Okay.
Because that's when...
It's almost like she was willing. Like, the way she acted was like, okay, honey, like, I'll go with you. Like,
she almost cried at one point. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did.
I think it's because she's trying to fight it, but...
Yeah.
Because I think the devil controls the dad completely, and then the daughter completely, or the kid.
Yeah, because the daughter was just holding the doll the whole time.
And the wife's kind of, like, not completely controlled, because there's another scene in the flashback with Carrie Ann where her mom's killed, and she looks like surprised that she's getting killed.
Okay.
So I think the wife isn't completely controlled like the other two are, because she seemed like she was like almost about to cry.
Yeah.
Like she knew what was about to happen. So I don't know if she's under the complete control like the other two are.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that poor woman.
I know, I felt terrible.
Just gets destroyed in the kitchen, and then Carter gets shot by Lee.
And the mom's like, like almost like this has to be finished.
Yeah, then the mom's like ready to kill Lee.
Yeah.
And Lee shoots her in the head.
And then when she wanted to take out the doll and she couldn't because she was out of bullets.
She fired 3 shots so far.
Yes.
Out of 6.
Yep.
So people also say it's the devil controlling the gun, like not make sure it doesn't go off.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple of things that could have happened here from what I've watched other people talk about. So you can take it as Lee is going to take the daughter and leave, which seems like, kind of. She could do that, but the doll's still there. It's like, what happens with the devil? I immediately
thought she was going to be, because the way she was looking at the doll, I'm like, is the doll going to possess her? I thought she was going to end up killing the daughter. Like, she was going to become possessed by this doll.
Yeah,
and kill the daughter.
They think she's going to become her mom. Like, she's going to start doing the work for the devil. Or she becomes Longlegs. Because now her mom's dead, Longlegs is dead, so now the devil needs
it's not like Lee's like a doll maker.
Yeah, but you can tell in the end she's kind of like starting to resist less.
Yeah, and that's why I thought she was going to kill the girl, Ruby.
So I think it seems like from what they did in the end with her, she's going to kill the girl.
Yeah.
And then she's just going to work with the devil.
Because she was kind of like, come with me, Ruby. And then I was like, oh, God.
And then she didn't leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Lee fell victim to the devil.
I think they were like, let's leave this open for another sequel to this
like a
movie.
Sequel. Yeah, I mean, it made like 90 million plus on the profit side. So, but yeah, it seemed like it leaned way more towards Lee becoming part of the devil's work, unfortunately, which means that daughter's dead too.
Yeah, I really wanted her to be like the hero of her own story.
I know, she was doing great up until the doll couldn't get killed by the gun.
Yeah, because you have to get rid of their head for the doll. Yeah,
you have to shoot the ball.
The ball,
I think. Something
that's
about
what has
ball,
the essence of the devil in it.
Yeah, I think the ball has to be destroyed.
Yeah.
From what I understand. So there's one thing that we haven't talked about yet, which I don't know if you noticed, but I only noticed when I watched a couple other people talk about it, is they never mention Lee's dad, who he is.
Right.
And that's because people have said that maybe she doesn't have a dad. She was born from Satan, and she's like that devil's child, I think.
I don't believe that at all.
That whole term of like, she's the spawn of Satan, basically. Because she sees the upside down triangle, she says father when she sees the pictures. They never mention who her dad is. Lee's mom never talks about her dad. They never have pictures of the dad in the house.
Yeah, but I feel like I just assumed they were like the dad split when she was tiny.
I mean, she easily could have.
Yeah.
But it's never brought up in the movie.
I don't know that I buy this. I don't think Lee was evil enough to be the spawn of Satan.
Well, now she might be.
Yeah, but she wasn't, what I'm saying.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some people think that maybe she didn't have a dad. She was just born from Satan, and her mom birthed her. So that was one of the things I saw.
I'm not feeding into that one.
I don't not believe it because they never bring up her dad. So
I feel like that's sad to say. Normal when the dad kind of runs out on your kid, like you don't bring him up anymore. Could have been something even nefarious, like.
And there's never any family that comes visit them. It's another thing. There's no family. So
yeah, she does mention that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
the mom.
So if she had a husband, it'd be weird if they have like no family to ever come
But
visit.
I'm saying maybe she never had a husband.
Right, yeah.
But she has no family either.
Yeah,
apparently.
So I don't know. That one's up for interpretation too.
Yeah.
Of what her dad
I just would have never connected that.
All right, so your first viewing, what'd you think?
So you told me last night, I have a movie I want to do on the podcast because I think you'll hate it.
Yeah, most people didn't like it the first time they watch it, and then the second time because they understand a lot more of what's going on.
I actually really liked it the first time.
I was indifferent on it the first time, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it, and then I watched it again.
I was I don't know if really liked it is the term, but I was very invested in the film. Like, I was very invested in connecting the dots and what was going on. So I by no means disliked it.
Maybe indifferent's the wrong word. I thought it was good, but then the more I thought about it and the more time passed, I was like, wow, that movie was really good because I learned more about it and like all the little things they threw in there.
And the funny thing is when you look back or when you think back on it, the signs were always there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a nurse.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like all of the things that you learn, they were like literally in front of your face.
The man down the stairs.
Yes.
Literally the man down the stairs.
I kept thinking the devil. I never connected like anybody in a basement, for God's sake. I just kept thinking, all right, they're talking about the devil, like obviously. And it wasn't that obvious because I didn't connect it.
Yeah. So overall, what'd you think?
Number wise?
Yeah. I
don't know. I'm finding it really hard to come up with a number for this one.
This is like one of the better horror movies for me. So this is like a 8, 9 maybe.
I was gonna say like 7, 8.
Yeah, that seems right.
In there, yeah.
I'm curious to know if you keep thinking about it because I couldn't stop thinking about it for a couple days.
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm not gonna get the image of Nicolas Cage out of my head for a minute because he was haunting.
Oh, the almost birthday girl.
All I keep thinking is like a clown that's like, hi there, and I'm terrified of clowns. So like he is very reminiscent of like one of those creepy birthday clowns that would come to your parties, and he's very unsettling. And I don't think I'm gonna I don't even like that we're doing this in the dark because he creeps me out so much.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage did great. I think everybody in this movie was really good. I liked.
Yeah, the acting was good. Yeah. The mom was a little annoying, but I think she was supposed to be.
Yeah, she's a little weird.
But I really like Blair Underwood, and I like his character of Carter a lot. I think he was good.
R.I.P. Carter.
Yeah.
And his family. His daughter's probably dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
bringing
Ruby's
dolls
gone.
to other houses.
I wonder who's going to be the doll maker now.
Yeah, I know. He's going to take up doll making.
It will be interesting to see if they do a sequel.
Yeah, I guess.
Because I feel like they've definitely left it open for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And how they're going to build a story from there. Because it almost seems like it can't be this. It can't carry.
Yeah, it'd be hard to do a sequel. Yeah. Your main character, what are you going to do? A main character about her being evil now?
Yeah.
The same thing again that you've already seen. So.
Well, I mean, usually sequels probably do the same thing over and over again.
Imagine a sequel, she's just her, but her face is really white. And she's making dolls now. Oh,
speaking of the white face, he said that the Oz said... Is that his name?
Yeah, Oz was the director and writer. He
said the white face was inspired from Bob Dylan. So Bob Dylan apparently on his tour, Rolling Thunder review tour, he had his face painted white.
I think it helps. It adds to his character.
I just kept thinking, how does nobody think this dude's totally weird?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just walking around town with a white face and nobody
Yeah.
thinks this is odd. Like, that's obviously a serial killer. There's, like, no other reason why you're doing that in, like, normal life. And he goes in stores and creeps out little girls. Like, this dude is up to something.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's going to do it for episode 8 of Not the Front Row Podcast, Longlegs. One of the better horror movies that I've seen recently. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Feel free to let us know what you thought of Longlegs. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Yeah. Catch us on the next episode.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. Feel free to let us know what you thought of Longlegs. And if you think she's now the devil. And if the daughter lived or not. We'll find out if there's going to be a sequel. They have $90 million of profit to play with. So we'll see what they do with it. But thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.